Thanks to the support as a channel member, Rob Pontin. Well, here we go, folks. The final episode of Wembley to Wembley. We could win the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Champions League today. Or we could just end the series and as like 3 times in a row Carabao Cup winners. It really could take a turn if things don't go to plan. Hello and welcome to part 152 of Wembley to Wembley. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final game of the Premier League season and the Champions League final. There is the small matter of an FA Cup final between the two as well, but we're going to do that off camera because the focus is on the two that we've never won before, the Premier League and the Champions League. Since you were last with me, we have continued our decent form. I mean, to be fair, we had a couple of nice, easy games. We beat Bournemouth 4-0, Crystal Palace 2-0. Luckily, while that was going on, Manchester City were dropping points as well. So while we were beating Bournemouth 4-0, Man City were losing at home to already relegated Cardiff. And then when we beat Crystal Palace, Manchester City drew with Leeds. So it takes us into the final day of the season when we are away against Manchester City, but we're 3 points clear of them at the top of the table with a 10-goal advantage on the goal difference. The only way we don't win the Premier League today is if Manchester City beat us by 6 or more goals. Frankly, if we lose 6-0, we deserve to not win the league. Man City did win a Champions League game 9-0 earlier in the season, so they have got the potential to score goals, but just cross everything that we don't balls it up from here, boys and girls. Our last ever league game in the longest series I've ever done. And this is the team. It's Kudo in goal. A back four of Gleedle, Mane, Starrico and Da Costa. Ulbricht and Tung in midfield. Bahari, Ansong and Bryan behind Gundo. Up front, Sabatino is injured, which is why Ulbricht is coming in and starting today. But we just have to come here and not get thrashed. It's not even... I said a couple of episodes ago, I think, that the ideal scenario would be to come here to Man City on the last day of the season, knowing that we just had to avoid defeat. I didn't want to have to come here knowing we had to win. Well, now we just have to avoid getting absolutely smashed. We could lose 3-0 and still win the league. It probably wouldn't bode very well for, going on and winning the Champions League if we go into it with terrible form. But it doesn't really matter. And what does matter is that Da Costa has just opened the scoring after 3 minutes. We're going to do it in style, boys and girls. Manchester City in full-on bottle mode. I don't know what's got into them over the last couple of matches. They are just absolutely bottling everything. But as it stands, the league is ours. I mean, it was ours anyway, effectively. Look at that from Kudo. Wonderful goalkeeping. What contrast to what we'd just seen at the other end. Just comes and plucks it out of the sky when he has absolutely no right to get there. That is a confident goalkeeper. A man who finished bottom of the Premier League last year. He's going to finish top of the Premier League this year because we've put a good team around him. What a difference having a good team around him has made. But we've got a team full of players who've been relegated from the Premier League in the past. I don't think we've got a single former Premier League winner in amongst us. Lots of them have got relegations to their names. This means a lot to all of these boys. Few more so than Ansong, who of course has been here for longer than most of them and has just got his 10th goal of the season. Bearing in mind he's not even a regular starter anymore. 10 goals is huge from him, and that is a lovely finish. And we have decided to do it in style. Less than 8 minutes on the clock. It's Manchester City 0, Wembley 2. We are going to thump them. That's how you do it, boys and girls. It even lets Newcastle skip above them into that second place position. City have just absolutely fallen apart over the course of the last 5 games of the season. Even with 5 games to go, they still looked like they were in a pretty solid position, but for whatever reason, I guess having not won the league for 5 years, they're maybe as bottly as we are now. It's been Vincent Kompany's game for a long time. Interestingly, they did notice that they did announce that their manager, Thomas Tuchel, was retiring at the end of the season. That was announced about 6 weeks ago, and since then they've just been in freefall. The heavy rumour, oh, look at Kudo, what a man. The heavy rumour is that Kompany is going to head to Manchester City to take over, having won the last 4 Premier Leagues in a row between Newcastle and Chelsea. I'd be surprised if he wasn't sacked at Chelsea for this 7th place finish they've done this season. And I think he's going to slot himself back in at Manchester City. And it's going to be Vincent Kompany versus Tom Best, hopefully, managing the two biggest teams in the country. I don't even know who's managing Newcastle these days, but 2-0 up, penalty save, Kudo having a lovely time. Everyone's having a lovely time. And we're ready for the trophy lift now. What a place to lift the trophy as well, in the middle of the pitch here at Manchester City. We better get a trophy lift. We've waited 21 seasons for a Premier League trophy. I did not expect this moment to ever come in this series because the plan was never to go this far. Thank you very much to Sports Interactive for arranging to delay the game just so I could finish this series properly. We are going to get to see a Premier League trophy lift and fingers crossed, really finish things off with a Champions League at the end of the episode as well. Wouldn't that be a thing? We're going to make a whole bunch of changes because we've got a lot of tired legs out there. Let's get Chris Dodulu on. He deserves a little bit of a run out. There you go. 5 changes. We could have done more. We've got a lot of, like I say, a lot of tired boys, but 5 changes with 20 minutes still to go. We're trying to keep these boys fresh for the Champions League final. Weirdly, the FA Cup final, where we play Championship side Wrexham, so we could potentially put the reserves out, but that's happening midweek, which is odd. I don't know if I've ever heard of a midweek FA Cup final, but we play them in 3 days, and then a week today, I think it's the Champions League final in Rome against either Tottenham or Chelsea. I'm not actually sure which team made it through to the final, but Pedone, who has been in lovely form in this little bit of a run in, just as Gundo started to wobble a little bit, Pedone has come in and demonstrated why we invested so much money on him back in January, because we needed a proper rotation option up front. He was offside that time. I'm doing a speech about how great both he and I are, and meanwhile he can't even stay on side. Goodness me. 15 minutes still to go. I don't know how many minutes are in a football match, but it is City trying to save some face, and they have saved face a little bit there with a goal back. I mean, they need to score another 7 in order for them to win the league, so it seems pretty unlikely, but you know, stranger things have happened. If they happen today, this will not just be the last episode of this series, it'll be my last ever YouTube video, because I don't think I can cope if we throw the league away from this position that we started this episode in. And certainly from where we were at half time, that would be hideous. Right, that one has been disallowed. Kudo, not quite looking as dominant as I was describing him as for the last couple of minutes. He got stuck in no man's land there, but fingers crossed we get away with it, and hopefully that's the wake-up call that we needed. That's the final scare. Although City on the attack, and they're not going to score 7 goals in 10 minutes, surely. I'm just uninstalling the game if that happens. And that's it. I'll see you over on the Lego channel. There'll be no more videos over here if we mess this up now. Please don't mess about, you wallies. There you go. Kudo back to being his commanding best. And it's been a very tight game, actually. Looking at the match stats, it's not that we've just steamrolled it over, and they just had a bad start and some pretty poor defending early on, and we've capitalised with a team that are capable of capitalising on those kind of situations these days. Kudo had that well covered. It's been all City for the last half hour of this match, and it all counts for nothing because they've finished third, and I think we're getting a trophy lift. Are we getting the trophy lift? We're getting the trophy lift! Lovely, lovely, lovely. Where's my trophy? Let's get it. Got to get my little trophy out. Right, I'm lifting it with Mane. Me and Mane are going to lift it together because we've worked long and hard to get to this point. So I have my trophy in front of me. I imagine the in-game one is made out of Lego as well. But come on then. Up, up, up. There we go. Come on then. Champions. Premier League champions. Yes, that's the Premier League trophy. Premier League champions. Now we just need to remain focused because we've got 2 more trophies to win. Has anyone ever won all 5 trophies in one season before in the history of English football? Because we're on course for it. Let's go deal with Wrexham. Well, we dealt with Wrexham nice and comfortably. Nice little 3-0 win in the FA Cup final. Wrexham were never in it. As you would imagine, you can see we rotated a little bit for that game as well. And that brings us to Tottenham, to the Champions League final. We are unbeaten for 49 matches in all competitions. The last team to beat us back in November, Tottenham. They could be about to ruin everything. This is the team for the Champions League final, the last game in Wembley to Wembley. It's Kudo in goal, a back four of Gleedle, Mane, Starrico and Burrows. Tung and Sabatino in midfield, Bahari, Ansong and Pedoni behind Gundo up front. Brian isn't fully fit off the back of the FA Cup final. There's a few of them, and Gesson, Renault, Williams, Brian, Salinas, Ulbricht. They're a little bit tired. We've played a lot of football. I'm glad we rotated when we did. But now let's just go and beat Spurs. It's as simple as that. Let's just go and beat Spurs. Because goodness me, if this ends with Spurs beating us, I'm going to be very, very sad. I also am a little bit sad that with it being two London teams in the final, that we didn't move the final to London and play it at Wembley, because it would have been great. But with the FA Cup win, by the way, we have ended the series with a 100% record, a 100% winning record at Wembley Stadium. We don't have a 100% winning record at Wembley Stadium, not that one. The only team that's beaten us there, yes, Tottenham. Yes, it's Tottenham have become a bogey team. We need to make sure we pick our nose. Is that how you deal with a bogey team? And Bahari is in to pick the nose early on. I mean, he was almost certainly miles offside, but we'll let the referee be the judge of that. He's deferred to his little robotic friend, and it has been disallowed. But there's the first warning shot for Spurs that we're coming for them. Let's have a look at it from the other angle. Tung, of course, the Arsenal guy on loan with us. He will be going back to Arsenal this summer because we haven't got £200 million to make that deal permanently. So whoever takes over from me as manager, hopefully Tom Best, job number one is going to be sign a central midfield partner for Sabatino. It could end up being Ulbricht. He's been brilliant. So maybe he can just slot into that role. Maybe there isn't the need to go and bring anybody in, but he's certainly not going to have Tung there next season unless he sells an awful lot of players to achieve that. And on the topic of potential future managers, Vincent Kompany has now been sacked by Chelsea. So Chelsea, the previous Premier League champions, what a goal from Gundo. I'll get back to that thought in a minute. Gundo's just got his 37th goal of the season, and it's an absolute worldie, and it puts us 1-0 up in the Champions League final. Look at this. This is absolutely stunning. 1-0 to Wembley. Keep crossing your fingers. What I was saying, though, is in addition to me retiring this summer, Thomas Tuchel at Manchester City's retiring this summer. Chelsea, the previous Premier League winners, have sacked their manager. There's going to be some big managerial movements this summer, which hopefully means any really desirable candidates go somewhere else and Tom Best can take over here. Pedone makes it 2-0. It's all coming together. I just hope Tom Best doesn't go somewhere else or Vincent Kompany doesn't come here. Oh, it's setting itself up for the perfect finish. And of course, the perfect of perfect finishes is me retiring, Tom Best staying at the club. That's crucial. He mustn't walk out with me. We need to tell him not to walk out with me. He needs to stay at the club, take over, and then we will do a 5 years in the future episode that will come out tomorrow before Non-League to Legend starts on Monday. And you'll be able to see what hopefully Tom Best can get up to with this team that I'm setting up just right for success. This will be 5 trophies this year, assuming we hold on to this one. The Community Shield, the Carabao Cup, Premier League, FA Cup, and now the Champions League as well. Hopefully 2-0 up just before half time. We have to really bottle it to throw it away from here. But I've got it in me. Don't worry, I have got it in me. Bahari's in. Bahari makes it 3-0. He's had one disallowed earlier in the match. He's onside this time, though. It's 3-0 to Wembley. It's not even half time yet. We are absolutely dealing with the Tottenham problem. This is what we've been saving all the goals for recently. Ansong involved again. He's been fantastic towards the end of this season. And that is about as perfect a first half as we possibly could have hoped for. 3-0 to Wembley. Just do it all again, boys, because I smell a Champions League coming home with me, and I'm ready for it. I did not think we were going to get to this point with this save, but I think we all have to agree at this point it's the perfect ending, right? It's all come together brilliantly, as long as Spurs don't ruin it. Okay, Kudo, what a man. I mean, it's a goal kick. Kudo doesn't even make the save. He's such a good goalkeeper. He scared the ball wide without even having to touch it. That's proper goalkeeping. But it remains 3-0. We're hitting the final 20 minutes. It's time to check for tired legs. They're all tired. Let's make some changes. And Gessen's going to come on at left back. Tongue is going to come off for Christodoulou, the former Arsenal youngster. How wonderful to have him to come on in this situation. Brian's going to come on for Badone because we love him and he deserves to play in the Champions League final. He's been so good for us all season long. It's one of the reasons I wanted to get Christodoulou on as well. Players who deserve to be involved in this moment. And Christodoulou and Ansong and Brian, these are players who are, oh, you absolute cretin. Christodoulou's been on the pitch 2 minutes and got himself sent off. Imagine if he becomes the grand villain of the entire thing. I mean, it's very much true to what he's done all the way through his Wembley career. But it's not the time for it, really. Right. I think we take off Ansong here and bring on Ulbricht. What an absolute plum Christodoulou is. What a wally. We could have just brought Ulbricht on. We brought Christodoulou on for the romance. He was on the pitch for less than 3 minutes. Straight red. That's the last we'll ever see of him. Tom Best needs to deal with that problem later down the line. Sabatino's now tired. Very, very tired. Oh, we've got so many tired legs. Who have we got who can just come on and run around? I think Rob Williams is the guy to come on and just run around. He can come on for Bahari. And we just got to hold on. We're down to 10 men. But let's just not let Tottenham back in. They've still not had a shot on target. So even with 10 men, we're better than Spurs, which is delicious, quite frankly. Ulbricht gives it to Gundo. Williams back to Gundo again. And I thought that was going to be the fourth. The keeper manages to push it behind for a corner. But a corner, you know what that means. He's lurking. Captain Mane. Can he find number 4? It is Mane! It's his 21st goal of the season. Our captain puts the cherry on top of the cake. He is unstoppable from those corners. Mane, what a man. Our captain. And he's about to lift the Champions League. And what a way to guarantee that it happens. Beautiful. I need to get my trophy ready. It's here. We have an actual Champions League. We don't need the Lego one for this because we've got the Champions League trophy ready for the trophy lift. It's me walking up first. Look at me. And now the trophy is being handed to Mane and he gets to walk it over to us. Oh, come on then. Champions League winners. Wembley, boys and girls. That's what I'm talking about. What a time to be alive. Champions League winners. We won every trophy we were involved in this season. That is sensational. An incredible quintuple. We've qualified for the Club World Cup. That's Tom Best's problem. Christodoulou's a wally. That's Tom Best's problem. The Wembley fans worship me. That's Tom Best's problem. Tom Best is the only guy who became an icon. Mane making it onto the favourite personnel list, as he should, being the captain that lifted all 5 trophies. We're just giving everybody one last pat on the head because now there is one more thing to do, and that is retire. And just hope that Tom Best doesn't follow me out of the door. Oh! We would appreciate if you're willing to postpone your retirement and consider remaining in charge. I've never had this before. No, I'm retiring. I'm done. I think my time here has come to an end. There you go. I am retired. And we're just jumping back into Wembley just to check that Tom Best didn't do anything silly like walking out the door with me. No, he's still there. That's your next Wembley manager, boys and girls. Like I've said repeatedly, I can't add him in as manager because the editor's disabled on all my saves. The board have to do the right thing, but fingers crossed the board do the right thing and we'll find out tomorrow in the 5 years in the future episode. If you've enjoyed that, though, if you've enjoyed the series, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Non-League to Legend is back on Monday. And thank you very much for watching.